Hey, and welcome back. As a working musician in today's world, being able to record yourself is pretty much essential. Whether that's to record a rehearsal or a demo of your band to help find opportunities to perform, or just creating content for social media platforms like this very channel, I've found that being able to record goes right up there with being able to play my instrument. Now, recently Sweetwater reached out to me and asked if I would like to try this new interface from PreSonus. And even though I already have a few different interfaces that I'm comfortable with for recording, I'm always interested in seeing what else is out there, not only to share with the viewers of this channel, but see if maybe it could make my recording process a little more efficient or streamlined and help me improve the work that I do. So today we're going to be taking a look at this new Quantum ES4 interface from PreSonus, putting it through some testing, and letting you know what I think about it. So I've had this for a few weeks now, and I've already put it to use in my studio at home, recording some demos for some upcoming videos on my channel. And one thing I really appreciated about this was, even though it does have a companion computer program to control some of the routing and features, you also pretty much have the ability to do everything you need right with tactile controls on this interface. So it was very easy for me to get it set up, plugged in, and get recording really quickly. I think the quality of preamps and the sound coming out of this interface are definitely good enough for what I need. Now personally, I do own a different 4-channel interface that I bought last year, and that's the SSL12. And even though I do think the sound quality and the preamps are a little bit better on this, for most of the content creation and simple stuff I'm doing, something like this would work fine, and it comes in a lot cheaper than the SSL. Now for me, with the interfaces that I've kind of taken on and used in my setup, I really appreciate having something that's bus powered. So on the back here, you'll notice we have 2 USB-C ports, and included in the box is a USB-C to USB-C cable. Now, if you're using most modern computers, you probably already have USB-C ports. And if you do, then you only need this one cable to get this powered up and transferring all the data from the interface into your computer. Now, if you don't, and you only have the traditional USB type A ports, you're gonna need a second port here so that you can actually power this mixer. I know that will probably be a bummer to some of you, but that's the way the world is going, and get on board. Now, what's also great about something like this is you could plug it into a phone or an iPad and record, but what I noticed is that USB-C port, where from your computer it can both power it and transfer all the data, you do need to plug into an external power source here. I do find this device a little confusing because this second port here says aux on it. And so when I first got it, I thought, oh, maybe that's like an aux-in audio loopback feature. Now this does have the audio loopback feature built right in, but you do need to go into that universal control app in order to really get that set up to use. So aside from that, let me just go through a few of the other features here to explain everything you have at your control here. Now on the front panel, you have buttons for all 4 inputs, which you'll press to activate, and then you can adjust the gain with this one master knob, or you can use the auto gain function built right into this device. Now I typically like gain staging on my own because I find it to be faster. And also, I'm looking for something specific, and who knows if PreSonus has the same thresholds that I do. Now, if you don't do a lot of recording and don't have those kind of specific taste, something like this could be really convenient and efficient for getting all 4 of these channels mic'd up, gain staged, and ready to record really quickly. Additionally, a couple of the other things I like here is you have this button here for the main. That's for your outputs here, which you can switch between 2 different sets of monitors. And then we also have 2 sets of headphones built in here, which you can set different mixes on, again with the Universal Control app. We also have 2 high Z inputs to do a guitar or bass signal, and those will supersede the inputs on the back for the corresponding channels 1 and 2. For me, this would work great with recording my trio where I can just DI the guitar and bass into the front and then do a quick 2-channel setup for the drums. So as much as I'd love to go over every feature in depth, there's plenty of videos already about that all over the internet, and I'd encourage you to check those out. I think for me, the real test I want to do with this to get my final opinion is record something with an entire band. I'm gonna show you a little bit of the process of how I recorded each musician, and then I'll put that video together of us playing the short demo, and I'll come back and give you my final thoughts. All right, let's go. So to kick things off, I started by recording the drums here at my home studio, and for this, I'm using an SE Electronics V-Kick on the bass drum, a Shure SM57 on the snare, a Shure SM7B on the hi-hat, and finally a Shure KSM32 as a mono overhead. After getting everything set up and plugged in, I sat down and tested all of the mics just to get everything gain staged appropriately, but then got to tracking pretty quickly. A few days later, my buddy Calvin, who wrote this song, came by with his guitar, and we recorded him directly into the interface with one of the channels on the front. These are co-designed with Fender, so it goes without saying they are really well suited for direct guitar and bass signals. Next up, we added a little saxophone, and for this, I had my friend and neighbor Eric drop by to quick double up the melody. In this case, I found it really helpful having 2 headphone inputs on the interface, so we could each monitor the track at the same time, without the need for a headphone splitter or distribution system. For the bass, I went over to my friend Matt's house to be a little bit easier on him, and this was a good chance to see how convenient using this interface on the go would be. I took a direct line from his DI pedal, which requires phantom power, and even without having my computer or interface plugged into an external power source, we had no issues throughout the entire time. When it came time to track the organ, both Calvin and I knew we wanted to get our friend and bandmate Steve to play. The only convenient time we had to do this was before a gig we had, right on stage, ahead of the rest of the band arriving. Once again, being able to just conveniently take my laptop and a bus-powered interface made it easy for me to borrow a bar table and just set it up next to the stage to work from. We also used a floor wedge from the venue to use as a monitor while tracking. Now at this point, we originally planned to be finished with all the tracking, but after hearing how good everything was sounding, we wanted to get one more bandmate on this project and add some trumpet. So to put it simply, I'm in love with this thing. When PreSonus and Sweetwater offered to send this out for me to try, I knew it would sound good because there's a dozen companies making great sounding audio interfaces, and PreSonus has a great reputation. But what sets this apart for me is the convenience. I love that I can control this mostly physically with buttons and knobs on the actual interface, but when I do need some of those more advanced features, I can pull up the app and it's not confusing at all. In today's world where a lot of devices like this are trying to balance being physically controlled and being app controlled, there can sometimes be a technology hurdle to get over to be able to use something efficiently. And even for me, as someone who didn't read the owner's manual at all, this was super easy to get started with. I'm really looking forward to having this in my possession to use in the future, because a lot of times when I want to record, getting set up and getting all the logistics of a recording ready to go is not the fun and creative part. I want to get to playing music, and this allows me to do that. If you're interested in picking one of these up for yourself, I'm going to have affiliate links down in the description of this video, and that's a great way to support my channel with no extra cost added to you. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on all of my future video releases. And until next time, thanks.